taking a step back in time.
This room used to be our church, and it was one of the first brick churches built in the area. It was used continuously for worship from 1858 to 1927.
More than 80 years later, the same room serves as a museum.
The Museum of Old Domestic Life is one of the hidden treasures of High Point.
Every item on display served a purpose in people's lives in the 1800s.
Back in the day before innerspring mattresses, mattresses were held up by a network of ropes running crisscross both ways across the bed, and of course those ropes would sag. So you'd put your bed key in, turn it around, tighten up the ropes, and you'd sleep comfortably.
Everything can be touched, giving people a chance to see, feel, and understand.
This is one of the oldest things that we have here in the museum. It's a hand-turned grinding mill, and it dates back to the 1700s. It's so old, there's actually a special Old English name for it. It's called a quern.
It's a time period we've only read about in books.
One of our special things in the museum is a model of Noah's Ark with all the animals carved 2 by 2. Those were carved by one of our members named Yardley Warner, who was a guy who came here shortly after the Civil War to help educate freed slaves.
This stone is one Pastor Joshua Brown believes sat on Alan Tomlinson's farm and helped slaves escape.
He was known to be against slavery and to be involved with the abolition movement, but it all had to be very secret because helping slaves to escape was extremely illegal. So the stone is a marker stone that has an arrow scratched in it, which was used to guide escaping slaves on to the next stop on the Underground Railroad.
We learned during our visit how the city of High Point got its name.
High Point got started when the railroad came through in the 1850s. And High Point was the highest point on the railroad. So that's why it was called High Point.
A place now known as the furniture capital of the world.
Those are some of the first chairs built in High Point, the precursor to the furniture industry. They came mostly from the shop of Alan U. Tomlinson, and that eventually turned into Tomlinson Manufacturing, one of the giant furniture companies in the nation.
This museum also preserved portraits, photos, and letters to help tell the story. In High Point, Brad Jones, Fox 8 News.